So it was it was retribution, and they wanted to shut us up because we were complaining internally in the government about this unconstitutional collection of data by NSA. So they wanted us shut up. So they sent the FBI at us, and the first I knew they were in my home was I was getting out of the shower, and this FBI agent came into the bathroom pointing a gun at me. So that's when I knew they were in my house. And so after that, they took all my computer and any of the electronic storage devices I had and other kinds of papers. And basically, we had a small consulting LLC. They destroyed that by taking all that data and busting it up, really. So, and then that was in July of 2007 that they did that. And in between 2007 and the end of 2009, they tried 3 separate times, the Department of Justice tried 3 separate times to construct an indictment against us with false charges. And finally, toward the end there, in the last attempt, I had assembled enough information to show malicious prosecution and was ready to charge them with it when we went into court. So they dropped all the charges. Because at the same time, I guess there was somebody who felt pretty bad about what they were doing to us at the Department of Justice, and they gave us a copy of their draft indictment. So we have that draft indictment. But at least it shows that there are some good people still in the Department of Justice, and not like most of them that seem to be following orders. The Nuremberg defense went out in 46.
Yeah. Now, did the FBI have a warrant when they came into your house?
Yeah, they did. They had a warrant, and they falsified data on that warrant too. And I went down and made sure that the judge that signed that warrant knew that that was going on, and that the FBI was using that judge because they didn't know any better, right? They couldn't challenge what the FBI was. They made the assumption that they were telling the truth while they were lying through their teeth, So I made sure I let that judge's clerk know so that they could pass on that information, so that you can't just trust these people. You can't trust the NSA, the FBI, or any of them.
Yep.
You have to have a way, and that's one of the reasons why one of the suggestions that we sent into the president, if he was really serious and wanted to fix the NSA, here's some things you got to do. And one of them was to say you have to have a way of verifying that what they're telling you is true. And nobody can do that now. Even Reggie Walton, who was the chief judge on the FISA court, used to be anyway, he came out and said back in August of last year that he had a limited capacity to verify what NSA was saying to him. I mean, no, I would maintain he has none. I mean, there's no other contradicting evidence coming in from any other source. It's just the government telling you, here's the data I've got. Now, how can that judge challenge it? He can say, well, you have to write it up a little fancier. Okay, fine. Make it look pretty or something like that. But he can't challenge the basic facts that they're telling him. So that means there's no due process in that effort. It's all done on one side. It's all done on the administration side. So it's an Article 2 court, not an Article 3 court.
So Bill, if somebody becomes a target of the government, as I believe I am, who can help you? If you can't trust any of the different agencies, where do you go? Other than to come on the television and talk about it and expose it, other than that, what can people do?
Well, you can sue the government. We did that. We did it pro se, meaning we acted as our own lawyers and sued the government for return of property. Under the law, the government, if they take something in a raid from you, they confiscate your property and take it. They have to tell you within 60 days whether or not they're going to keep it. And if they don't, then you have to get right to get it all back. Well, they didn't tell us. They never told us, in fact. So we started our lawsuit in late 2011, 4 years after the raid. So they hadn't told us anything up to that point. And only when we were getting the final stages of it's a 41G lawsuit, return of property. We were representing ourselves in court, and so we did the arguing there, and we were just pointing out the law that they weren't following, But this is nothing new. I mean, they've been violating the law all along and the Constitution. So, for them, that was no big deal. And I guess they expected to be able to get away with it under the guise of national security, which they say just to protect themselves from the crimes they've been committing.
Now, getting back to that national security letters, these letters can be taken out randomly on anybody, correct?
Yeah, as long as an FBI agent thinks you're doing something wrong, he can write one up and give it to your internet service provider, your telephone company, your banking, whatever, even your doctors, I guess, and the libraries and stuff. But I would say that from all of the challenges, if you could get some legal assistance to do a constitutional challenge, that is to say that these things are unconstitutional, I would say that that's the way. Just don't abide by them and say, when you give me a warrant, I'll give you the data.
Yeah. Well, the thing that baffles me the most is the gag order involved with the national security letters, and that if they tell people that they'll be arrested if they tell the person who's the letter is taken out on, doesn't that put up a wall of silence between that person and everyone they associate with?
Well, that's the intent of that. That's what they want to do, but they don't have a right to do that. That's unconstitutional. It's already been proven in court that way. And so the point is that people have a First Amendment right to talk about anything and have due process anyway. That is not due process, and so you can't deny the people, the citizens of the country, their rights under the Constitution. It just isn't constitutional, and that's already been argued in court, right? And they have lost those cases.
So basically, as the viewers are watching this, the only thing we can do is go to the polls and try to vote out these people that have been in office after for too long, and other than that, just try to protect themselves in their house, make it almost a safe house, so to speak. Make sure you would. When you're using these cameras, these phones, all that, be sure that you're aware of what you're doing with them, and you're not leaving them on watching you get out of the shower, correct?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And if you get a national security letter, I would always recommend you talk to your lawyer.
Now,
because you are guaranteed due process under the Constitution, and also you have the right to free speech, period. No one can deny you that. And besides, the national security letter is not signed by a court. It's not a court order. If you get one, you should say, "I'll do what you want to do when you give me a court order."
When they issue that against somebody, does that person know?
Usually, that's not the case. They issue it to a third party that's holding the data, like the telephone company or an internet service provider or a library or a bank or things like that. That's where they issue them.
How would the person find out? Let's say, for instance, I think there's a national security letter on me. How would I go about finding out that?
Well, I mean, you can issue a FOIA, or you could do that, but I'm sure they would deny it. So it's really difficult, especially. See, that's the problem when you have a secret government. You have you can't be informed on any process. So you as the electorate become uninformed in a democracy. That's not a democracy.
So basically, it's an ant fighting a giant, and the giant you can't even see.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's fair. Bill, we only have 2 minutes left. This has been fascinating. I would certainly like to have you on again because we have a lot more stuff I was hoping to get to and ask you, but it goes pretty quick, huh, Wally? And
it does, yeah.
And listen, we have a viewer that watches every week, and He has a great talk radio show here in Eastern Connecticut. It covers Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Long Island. His name's Lee Elsey. I think you'd be a great guest on his show, and if you'd like, I can pass your information on to him.
Yeah, sure, you can go ahead and do that, yeah.
Okay, because I know he's watching right now, and he has a great show, and they're called the Voices of Freedom, and they're just great guys, and they reach out to a lot of people, and they're good people. So,
Yep.
Anything else, Walter? We've got a minute left.
No, all I know is my wife and I, we have made a list of all our senators and congressmen in the White House, and we call them all the time. And that's what people have to go do. They have to call the congressmen and senators and the White House.
Yeah, and tell them you're going to watch how they vote, and if you don't vote against all this surveillance and spying on everybody,
That's
that
right.
you're going to fire them in the next election.
Is there any key points? Oh, listen, Bill, we're fading out. We're going off the air. It's been a great show, and I look forward to having you on again. Does that sound good?
Yeah, okay, thanks very much for having me.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank
Good
you for
night.
being on.
God bless everyone.
Yep.
We'll see you next week. Wally, good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Night. Yeah, it did, didn't it?